What's up, guys? FrugalBC, and today I want to talk to you about a little known coin that has recently spiked in price. It's called Electroneum. I'm going to tell you all about it today on today's episode. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. FrugalBC here. If you haven't hit that like and subscribe button yet, I highly encourage you to do so. It'll actually make unicorns and rainbows appear. Just kidding, but but I hope you do so anyway. So today I want to talk to you about a coin that I bought, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, called Electroneum. So a lot of you guys probably know about Bitcoin. You guys have probably heard about Bitcoin before. You know what it is. You know that it's like dramatically spiked in price since the early days. I have a couple Bitcoin stories. Everyone has the, oh, I was looking at it, but I didn't buy it. And I was definitely one of those. I looked at it, but didn't buy it. Mostly because it seemed really complicated to do so, and it was. Coinbase didn't exist yet. It was really hard to get, and so I spoofed it. But one thing I did do is, back in the days of Bitcoin, I actually bought. I set up a wallet, and there were these websites you could go to, and you do some little task, and you would get like a tiny fraction of Bitcoin. And I don't think I ever got. I think in those days, one Bitcoin was around $100, and it was pennies, so it's probably like 0.001 Bitcoin, which now would actually be worth a few $100. So I probably got that around somewhere, and I tried to look through some of my flash drives and stuff to see if I could find that address to that wallet, and I don't know, I think it's gone. So it's not as bad as like the people who have like millions of dollars in a flash drive and then the flash drive gets lost or they can't figure out the password. That's pretty harsh. But anyway, so I did get into Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff like that. Probably, around first when it was around a few thousand, when Bitcoin was around a few thousand, there was a little spike run up. I sold it off. I sold a bunch off, made a pretty big profit. Probably lost out of money if I just held on to it though. That's a key point we're going to get to later. But first, I want to talk about Electroneum. So 3 or 4 years ago, I bought this. I came across on Twitter this initial coin offering for something called Electroneum. It sounded great, but they all kind of do. They all kind of sound like they do something really important. And there's like thousands of them. So how important can they really be, right? It was really cheap to get in. I think I bought, I don't know, a few hundred coins for like $1.30. You had to send Ethereum, which I had. So it was like a teeny little bit of Ethereum that I sent to them to get this Electroneum. And then there was a little bit of a spike in the early days when one of them was worth like 27 cents, I think, at the highest, and then that just sort of disappeared. And they came out with mining, so they allowed you to mine Electroneum on your phone so you could get more coins. Now they started off Android only, which sucked because I'm an iPhone user. And I was waiting for it to come out for iPhone. Finally it did, so I turned on mining. And every a little more than 2 weeks, I would make it to the 100 coin threshold where you get paid out, and then that slowly changed over time. It was like a month, then a month and a half, then up to almost probably about 2 months when they kind of stopped it. And so I got my final payout. They turned off mining. That's done now. Can't mine anymore. And the mining was free, by the way. There was no data. There was no. I don't know why. I really don't know the economics of it. But during that time, it was essentially worthless. I mean, I think one Ethereum was worth like a tiny fraction of a cent. So it was like, you weren't really getting a whole lot of money. So for the longest time, the total value of my portfolio of Electroneum was probably worth about, I don't know, $4 or something like that, which is more than what I paid for it. So, it's coming ahead, but there's not much you can do with that. So I held on to it. I have the app on my phone. Didn't really think much of it. And then I have it so I can see the price on Coinbase. And every once in a while I look just for fun. And all of a sudden I looked and I noticed it started going up. So, and I probably hadn't turned on my Electroneum app in a couple years. I think it was sometime around the end of 2019 maybe that they stopped doing the mining, and I really hadn't looked at it since. Fortunately, what I like about Electroneum is it's app based, and set up a pin, and once you put your pin in, you can get to your Electroneum, and that's how you get to it. You don't have to remember that silly password that is crazy to remember, like Bitcoin, a lot of Bitcoin things are. And so this is what I did, and I looked in, and it was worth $50 some, my little stash of Electroneum. So what happened in that meantime? And I wasn't totally unaware of this, but a couple things. They started a platform called AnyTask, where you can basically do tasks for money, and one of the payment methods, maybe the only payment method, I'd have to check on that, is Electroneum. So they have a use for it. And they also, in the early days, they were talking about getting into the mobile market. Well, now just about every phone company has, if you have a pay as you go plan where you add minutes to it, Electroneum is accepted in just about all of them. I mean, it's actually kind of crazy how many. There's a list, and you can scroll through on the app and see all of them, and it's like pretty much everyone you can think of. Very popular in a lot of the countries that are unbanked. So there's a lot of countries in, say, like Africa or South America, where you don't have that access to bank like you do here. And there's people in here that have trouble with banks too, but we won't get into that too much. But basically, there's countries that are using where they're more likely to have a mobile phone than they are an actual bank. So Electroneum allows them to exchange money as well as actually charge their phones, it's pretty cool. So I think the reason it's going up now, besides the fact that they stopped mining, is the fact that there's actual use cases for it. Also, there are a growing number of places in the US that take Electroneum. I was surprised to learn that there is a place in my own town that accepts Electroneum as payment. I think it's like a window place or something. It's kind of random. There's a few places like Milwaukee, Madison, Minneapolis, Chicago has a lot of them. But there's actually one in my city, like smack dab in the middle of Wisconsin. Now you know where I live. Don't stalk me. Where you can actually pay for things with Electroneum, which is kind of crazy. I think that's a big leap for people. Maybe not. Maybe it's pretty easy to set up, and they figure, what the heck? Gives me something to be excited about. I don't know. It's kind of cool though. So I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. Am I recommending people to go get it? I don't know. It's still pretty cheap, and you could probably, putting $5 in would give you a pretty decent amount of coins that you could hold on to and get later. It doesn't appear they have a referral link, so I can't say, hey, sign up through me and you'll get a coin, and I'll get a coin. If I find that, I will put it in the description below. And so one thing I want to talk about the price a little bit. It was funny to me because I saw when we were able to mine, which was free, mind you, you're getting free coins. There were people saying, well, when's the price gonna go up? And I said, well, probably when they stop giving it away for free for starters. I mean, look how long Bitcoin took to take off. It was a really long time. And, it was like, I mean, there were, when I first started looking into Bitcoin and learned about it, there were, one coin was like a few cents, maybe, I think, maybe 20 some cents. I don't know. It was incredibly cheap in the early days, and it stayed that way for a while. And then it started, all of a sudden, it was like getting into the hundreds, and everyone thought that was the cap. And I made that mistake too. So I don't know. This could just be a fun little experiment, or this could end up being like a real thing where, who knows? What if Electroneum is the price of Bitcoin now, or even what it was, a few years ago? I would have a pretty good stash on my hands, but I'm not really counting on that. I think it'll probably go up more. I don't think it'll ever be at Bitcoin levels, but who knows? But anyway, that's a fun little thing. I just wanted to tell you about Electroneum because it's something you could still get in on very cheap if you wanted to, either as an investment or just something to monkey around with. I think it's kind of cool. I like checking out this stuff. If you like this channel, hit the like and subscribe button. Appreciate that a lot, and I'll see you next time.